Welcome back for another episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And today I'm really excited about having Leslie on as the guest in this episode. So Leslie O'Flavahan um, is my guest on this episode, and we're going to be talking about communication, primarily. But Leslie, before we get started, tell our viewers a little bit something about yourself. What are you up to these days, and what's going on?
Hey, Mark, thanks. Well, a lot is going on these days because my business is to help people learn to write well at work. That's my business. And we are in the midst of a revolution in the tool that we use for writing at work, namely generative AI. So, you know how they're always telling the superhero to use her powers for good, not evil. And that's how I feel about generative AI. Okay, it's here, bring it on, but use its powers for good, not evil. So that's what's going on with me. World domination.
I love it. I love it. And as you can tell, I have my cape back here.
Yes.
Just in case I want to play that superhero role.
Right.
So, um, well, Leslie, you've had your business eWrite, correct?
Hmm.
For a number of years, 30 almost 30 years or around
Yeah.
30 years, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Why is writing quality such a passion for you?
Well, through and through, I'm a born and bred writing teacher. That has been my life's work, really. I was a high school and a college writing teacher before I formed this business back in May 1996. 30, almost 30, 8 weeks from now, it'll be 30 years. And
Nice. Happy anniversary.
well, how about it? Still in business, still making money, still trying to make waves, all of that.
Love it.
Um, Yes, being able to write well at work is a requirement. And in the work world that you and I inhabit, the world of customer service, customer support, technical support, no one ever helps those frontline folks learn to write better. They're expected to be able to do it in basically a factory. They write in a factory, and they're expected to be able to do it without much help or support. And so many of them come to the work after having served customers on the phone. And the communication skills you develop to serve a customer on the phone are not the same as the ones you'll need when you need to write to that customer. So it's a bedrock belief with me that people can be helped to write well. They can learn it, they can be helped, and that employers are obliged to help them learn to write well. And and that's how my story started. And 30 years later, it's still going.
You're sticking to it.
They can do it.
Yes. Um, yeah, it's funny. When I first started as a in leadership, um, it was like, here, go write this review.
Right.
Now go forth and do great things. It's like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I can do this, and so I love where your the foundation of your passion comes from is a lot of people just don't get it. It's like teaching cursive to kids these days.
Hmm.
You got to read it, but you know how to do it.
I love
Um,
that story you told about when people get promoted, their
mhm.
writing responsibilities almost always change, and no one
Yes.
ever tells them how to do that next thing. So
Hmm.
if you're kind of a team lead, you have never written a performance review, or if you're a new manager, you may have never justified a budget.
Yep.
Or written a budget for that matter.
Hmm.
And so it's almost be careful what you wish for. You know, you hope to get
Yep.
promoted, but you will not get support. You're not likely to get support
Yep.
on meeting the new writing tasks of your new role.
And the hope is that as a person new to a position or new to a role, or you're creating a role that has never existed before,
Mm,
that people have a certain amount of grace, or someone has mentored you
indeed.
to be able to take over those, or you were involved in projects that led into that role.
Hmm.
but far too often, especially in small to mid-sized companies, that probably hasn't happened. You were real, like you said before at the beginning, you were probably really good on the phones, and someone said, "All right, we're going to make you a team lead, or we're going to make you a
Right.
manager or a director. Now, have fun.
Yep.
Come back to me
Yep.
in 30 days."
And that's the story of all of our customer experience changes over
Hmm.
the last, I would say, 20 years. It's that we moved from live, synchronous, spoken experiences to
Hmm.
asynchronous written ones,
Yep.
one after another. Adding channels, they're basically, sometimes they're synchronous like live chat, but
Hmm.
SMS isn't synchronous. So we just adding written channels one after another and calling on everyone to have greater versatility and to have better knowledge stored. Email
Yes.
templates, knowledge-based articles, macros, whatever you want to call them. We
Mhm.
need better quality knowledge in all stored and ready for us to use.
Well, let's dive into this a little bit. So what's an unpopular opinion that you have about customer communication in one sense, or taking it into knowledge management? Because I heard you mention quality of writing. What's an unpopular opinion that you have about those two topics?
I'm going to get all tangled up on the word unpopular because number one, I want to be popular,
Yes.
and number two, I don't think my opinion is that provocative, but I also think people aren't willing to do the work. My opinion is that the quality of what you've written is the first virtue of it. It's the first merit of what you have. So you think about your knowledge base and you think about maybe you're updating the knowledge base or you're standing one up for the first time. And most leaders want the knowledge base to be really comprehensive, but they're not as focused on whether each article is current, relevant, usable, those kinds of things. So I guess the unpopular opinion that I hold is that it's better to have less stored knowledge, but it's well written and you're absolutely certain because you've tested it that the people who need to use it can use it well. So I think people, it's not an unpopular opinion because I think people will agree with me if I insist, but they don't do the actions that it takes to make sure that their knowledge quality is high. They're not auditing that template library. They have plans to improve the template library, but there's usually it's usually tied to one industrious employee. And they're like, get Sharon. She's a good writer, and we can lock Sharon in the room and she'll just fix that stuff,
Yes.
But Sharon eventually wants a new job. And after that, they don't have a plan for managing the quality. There's no scheduled
Mhm.
improvement. So that's my unpopular opinion, or the opinion's okay. It's just there's no action tied to it.
It's almost like you need a knowledge management system,
Hmm.
where it has regular iterations is what you would advocate for. Regular iterations that also elicits the feedback from those who are consuming the information to make sure it's consumable,
Yes,
you know?
absolutely. And here's a gesture. This,
Uh-huh.
those stupid little thumbs up, thumbs down options we can vote. Was the article helpful?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. The systems will nod toward auditing
Hmm.
quality with the thumbs up, thumbs down. That's
Yeah.
terrible. It's terrible for the person using the knowledge, and it's terrible for the organization.
Hmm.
What merit is there for the person using the knowledge to vote it down? Like, let me share that this sucked. Right? That's
Yes.
no good. And then for the organization, they don't know why it got voted down. No one can
Hmm.
tell. So
Yep.
it's a surface attempt at improving quality, but it's kind of jaded. It's kind of cynical.
Hmm.
Like let them vote, whatever.
It's very checkboxy.
Yeah.
Um,
It doesn't show they care.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with it. So when people say knowledge base, it can mean everything from a structured system. And I think you and I have talked about this before. What some refer to as like a SharePoint hellscape.
Right, right.
Um, um, and I may be quoting you on that. Um, so, what does knowledge quality look like to you?
N-
Um,
Knowledge quality, and I thought about this question for today.
uh-huh.
The knowledge is of high quality if the person who needs it can find it, if they can trust it, and if they can act on it. That last part, the usefulness. Can I
Yep.
find it? So that means the tagging and the storage and the naming and all of that is working. Can I find it? Can I trust it? And people who are reading knowledge articles or must use them to answer customers' questions, they don't decide whether they can trust the article by reading it from top to bottom and then kind of stroking the beard and being like, well, rather. They make quick decisions about whether they can trust it. So if they see that it's referring to version 2.3, but everybody knows we're on version 3.6, right
Mhm.
away, they don't trust it. Or if they have to, there seems to be a gap in the steps that are listed, and they tracked step one and step two, but step three doesn't match what they're seeing on their screen. They don't trust it. And then the
Yeah.
last standard is, okay, I found it. I do trust this information. Is it written so I can act on it, or is it too sophisticated for me? Does it have too much jargon, or does it have too little jargon?
Yep.
I'm thinking of support engineers. A tier three engineer can, can
Yeah.
understand a sophisticated piece. So find, trust, and use.
And I'm just a drill down question on that. So with knowledge, articles, knowledge systems, a lot of times um, organizations will structure it so that it can feed easily into like an agent assist platform.
Hmm.
So that agent assist platform is reacting in real time to what's going on in the conversation, and oftentimes presenting, or the agent is actually requesting, hey, tell me about billing, our billing process,
Right,
as an example. um, but what's presented oftentimes is a document that
right,
then the agent has to go through.
right, right.
Why aren't we making knowledge more visual for people?
Well, yeah, the question, like, why don't we have a document in there? Why is there a
Uh-huh.
document?
Yep.
Um, Part of the reason that we don't make knowledge more visual, and I think you're talking about annotated screenshots, some, picture of what we're seeing on the screen and some markup on it so the person who's using that screenshot can direct their attention. Part of
Mm-hmm.
the reason we don't do that often enough is that those are hard to maintain
Mm-hmm.
because, let's say the enter account number field was in the upper right-hand corner and
Mm-hmm.
the developers move it to the upper left-hand corner. Now the screenshot's out of date and we've got to find those. So that I think it's maintenance. But
Yep.
as I was saying before, it's better to have the 10 most frequently asked questions
Mm-hmm.
uh, not answered by knowledge that's maintained rigorously, that is
Yeah.
always fresh and accurate, than it is to have a whole bunch of articles where half of them are stale.
I
But
love
I want to go back to an assumption you made, like a knowledge base can think about knowledge base like the bookshelves here, it's a storage system.
it. Yep.
It's a place to store and name stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
some knowledge bases are really hard for people to use because it's only a storage space, like a closet organizer or
Yep.
plastic tub with a lid. And the people who put up the knowledge base are allowing subject matter experts to throw, there's a PowerPoint in one knowledge article, there's a spreadsheet in the other, there's a document in the other. It's just we're storing stuff, but we have done almost nothing to make it easy for the person who needs the information to use it.
I love that. And like oftentimes the naming and storage convention is up to the person that created it.
Right, Sharon.
At the time, yeah, Sharon created
You're
this.
right, right,
It's going to live on like the Dewey Decimal System. Everybody's
right,
going to know how to access what they need,
right,
and then Sharon wins the lottery,
right.
um, and she says, "Peace out, y'all," and you're left with something that nobody knows how to use. They like it, but then it starts morphing into something that it wasn't.
That's right, right. And the file, the articles are called like getting started dash, getting started updated, getting
Yeah.
started new, getting started use this one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is frustrating.
hmm
Um, so there a lot of organizations, especially those that are trying to get into the AI space, especially invest a lot of money in software for knowledge management.
hmm
It's almost before you can go on an AI journey, you have to have something that the AI tools can access,
Right.
or your agents can access, or your customers can access, etc. Um, but they still struggle with knowledge quality. Why do you think that is?
Knowledge quality is tedious. And it's omnipresent. So
Yeah.
I always think about a garden when I think about a knowledge base, and how we wish to be like, I'm going out there, I'm going to pull those weeds, and then they won't come back. But the
Hmm.
weeds always come back. So I think that's the main issue. It's the fact that the responsibility for maintaining quality is incessant
Yeah.
and we just don't budget time that way, especially when we're buying software. Because if, I mean, you think about the vendor pitches, the vendor is going to tell you this
Hmm.
software will solve your problems,
Hmm.
you know.
Without asking you what your problems are.
Or without knowing enough about the way your knowledge will have to change, just for very good reasons. You're hiring, so all of a sudden you need more stored knowledge that helps people onboard.
Hmm.
You went a couple 3 years without hiring much, maybe one or two people they had to suffer, but now
Yeah.
you've hired 5 or 6 people. Now you need more of that knowledge quality, or
Hmm.
you stop selling a product or you start selling a new product or all these different
Yeah,
changes.
yeah.
So yeah, it's just the maintenance, the weeding and the planting. It's all the time.
So what I'm also hearing is that an organization should never have just a Sharon
Right,
that's
right.
managing their knowledge. I mean, you
Yeah.
really need at least a small team,
Yep.
with some succession planning and some very thoughtful documentation in place so that you're creating a system and not a library.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. You need more than one gifted and industrious person who can
Yep.
help you maintain the knowledge. And you know what else? The other group of people you need the people who use your knowledge-based content, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
employees, external customers, both. You need a small group of them to help you review the changes, to give you feedback on the changes you're making to the knowledge article. So remember when you were talking before about why are we giving this agent a document? They need something visual, right? You don't want
Yes,
to make that choice without asking 3 or 4 agents. Don't make
I
that
love that.
choice because the problem might not be that it's a document. The problem might be that it's a badly written document
Hmm.
where they've got bullets instead of numbers and you can't really track what to do first or second. Or a classic problem with knowledge quality is what I would call throat clearing, where every step has a note. Step one, log in with your administrator account. Note, this will not work, da 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 da. So, it's not that the document isn't the problem, in fact. It's just not clear.
So
Keep
you got some behind the scenes processes which suck.
Right, right, right. So stop
Eh,
that, but you
exactly.
want a little team of people, you gather them at lunchtime and buy them pizza. And
Hmm.
you just want them to react to what you're about to do because the effort of maintaining knowledge is costly and you don't want to jump in and fix stuff that's by adding screenshots or
Hmm.
by adding video.
Yep.
We think that if we give people who are reading knowledge video that they're always going to like it, and often they do. And in
Hmm.
fact, all they wanted was the video. They want a screen grab of somebody doing the process, but it's
Hmm.
not always true.
Yep.
So,
Yep. You know, as you were going through that example, what was popping in my head, was, knowledge quality is great, but if it's not consumable,
mhm,
by the end user, then is the quality as good as it needs to be?
right.
Um, so is what's needed a video, is what's needed a screenshot, maybe
Mhm.
even a link into the system that that person doesn't even have access to.
Right,
um
right.
you know
Yeah.
um those are the things that when we're talking the quality, it's not just the 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 words that are on a page, but it's also the actions that are associated with the knowledge piece.
So
uh
true.
you know um so when we chatted recently, one of the things that we chatted about, and we're doing it here as well, is knowledge quality is really where employee experience and customer experience meet.
Hmm.
Can you provide a little bit extra color on that? Because I think it's a great statement,
Hmm.
um, and it's a great it's a great thought as far as how people need to embrace knowledge quality.
Right, and how they need to invest their time and effort.
Yep.
Yeah. So, knowledge is the commodity that enables agents or anyone to do their
Hmm.
job, their
Yep.
customer-facing job. And so when the knowledge is out of date or poorly written or difficult to access, and we're thinking now of some poor frontline agent with four monitors or three monitors in front of them,
Hmm.
then the customer will experience that. And I can think of customers who say, but you're telling me a different reason that this happened than the last person I talked to. Or the agent is saying, we can't do that. But in fact, we can. We
Hmm.
can do that. So I think that, because the knowledge supplies the employee with the information that makes the interaction with the customer happen, it does affect customer experience. But I think it's bigger than that because
Okay.
when the knowledge quality is high and when the knowledge maintenance is a habit, it's not like,
Hmm.
oh, next year, I mean it, God is my witness, we're going to do a KB audit, but we do it all the time. Then the employee is happier. They're just
Yes.
happier. It's like it's a tool to enable them to do the job. It's like a headset that works or
Yep.
an ergonomic chair, but it's better than those things. And so the employee feels and is capable of
Hmm.
helping and capable of learning. And one of the bitterest feelings employees have that good knowledge can prevent is we're the last to know. We are the last to know. Or I know in a lot of contact centers, the employees feel like, well, the web team or marketing put a promo out there. We don't know it, and now we're slammed. Or they're called on to absorb all of the communication fails that other parts of the company have. And this is the opposite of that. We are not the last to know. You know, our knowledge, our information sources are current and useful, and therefore we can care for our customers in a better way.
People become a lot more intentional about the knowledge that they're creating, for the front line, because the front line is then very intentional about providing feedback when they view it as a two-way street,
Right.
um, in making sure that the content that they need, that their customers need, are is all up to date.
Yes,
Um,
and I mean, I've seen lots of situations in my many years of coming and going in organizations where the agents have gotten so competent at working around the poor quality knowledge that they're doing things like searching for an answer, pulling up the article, and going, that's wrong, that's out of date, those instructions don't apply for us. And then they have some kind of little knowledge stash that they
yes.
made, and it's on their own hard drive and they're
Mhm.
using that instead. And that's a bitter situation. That's just not going to make people happy to be at work.
100%. Knowledge has to be a 360 view,
Mm,
um, for it to be, for it truly, in my opinion, truly to be high quality and high consumability.
yep, I
Um,
agree.
for sure. Um, so, what's something people are afraid to say out loud about using Gen AI for customer communication?
I'm not afraid of anything.
Yes, not a fear.
I'm not afraid. Um, I think people in our industry, people you and I know together,
Mhm.
at this point, they're probably afraid to say out loud, "Dang, we spent all that money on a Gen AI overhaul, and it didn't improve communication quality the way we hoped." I think a lot of people are somewhat afraid to say that, and that's a heartbreaking thing. I understand why they're afraid to say it. I think there's another thing they're not afraid to say, but it's not frequently said, and that is a very positive thing, and that is using Gen AI tools to write will give some frontline customer service agents a better career with more promotions than they ever could have anticipated. And I think this is really interesting because along the way, I have met a lot of frontline folks whose career progression stalled out because they had lesser writing skills. Why
Mhm.
is this true? Because sometimes that customer service rep job is an entry level job, and sometimes contact centers hire broadly for people who maybe have or develop a great knack for talking to customers, but they're either not that well educated or they're not strong writers. They weren't hired for that. And as their careers go on, they can hit a ceiling because their writing skills aren't good enough. They can't write a performance review, or if they do, it doesn't look professional. And I think this is amazing that Gen AI is probably going to remove that barrier.
Yes. It
Isn't that
becomes an
cool?
enabler,
Hmm.
for folks that are looking to fine tune their skills.
Yes. Or as a writing teacher, a lifelong writing teacher, their skills won't be fine-tuned. Their writing skills aren't actually going to change, but the tool creates a better output.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
So, I
It makes
mean,
them look better than what
that's what
their
I'm saying.
foundational skills.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. And it's a quandary because in my line of work, I know that good writing is a mirror of good thinking.
Hmm.
So if we have a person who's really not a great writer, who's by using a Gen AI tool, their products look conventional and well proofread and edited. Like are do they have the thinking skills for the job? That's still a question. But just that one barrier, it's almost like well, if you want to be a fashion model, you got to get those braces on your teeth,
Hmm.
right? This is the Gen AI is kind of like the braces on your teeth. It's going to remove one barrier to your progression, and you may be able to continue to rise with the help of that tool.
The I have several companies that I'm affiliated with that do simulation tech that have simulation technologies
Hmm.
as their core offering. And what I talk to companies about, and I'm sure you have as well, is one of the things that I think Gen AI can really do for an organization. It is create confidence.
Mm.
So that person who has a really good idea but isn't able to communicate it in writing,
Right.
if they practice enough and really want to focus on the feedback that's being received, they can improve their skills, but they're going to have more confidence in putting
Mm.
together a document or having a conversation or whatever the case may be, because they're able to practice in a safe environment repetitiously.
That I agree with that completely, and I like the way I hadn't thought of simulation, but it is in a way a simulation. We can do numerous simulations of this document that I have to write,
Mm-hmm.
and the effort cost of producing each of the versions is so low
Yeah,
that we can do a lot of them.
yeah,
That's cool. Hmm.
yeah. You can do that, and I mean, I think that some of the Gen AI for customer communication that's out there, I think you can actually take a written piece and then how is this going, ask some of the technology, how is this going to be perceived by an end user of this
Hmm.
document or end user of this piece? Um, and hopefully it's gonna tell you, okay, this is written on a second grade level, or it's written on a college level
Hmm.
that is maybe a little bit too deep for what your end user may be trying to get to.
Yeah. Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
so when you work with your customers, clients that you've worked with over the years, or in the teaching that you've done, I've heard that if you write everything in a fifth grade um, uh, mentality, that it comes across the best for the majority of the communication. What,
Hmm.
is that accurate or?
Well, I can we have several hours? I have a long answer, but I'm going to give you the short version. Those grade level measures of how sophisticated a piece of writing is,
Mm-hmm.
those grade level measures are really harmed by the fact that we're using the descriptor grade level. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you tell me, Leslie, please write our documentation for how to add a user to this account. Please write it at the fifth grade level. Then I have a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of baggage. That has baggage. It makes it sound like I'm writing to a fifth grader, a person
Mm-hmm.
who is 11 or
Yeah.
10, and you're absolutely not writing to a fifth grader. It's an arbitrary way of measuring of describing how complicated a piece of writing is. So I'll
Yeah.
give you an example. I live in the DC area and I'm a subscriber to the Washington Post and have been for, I don't know, 37 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that most of the articles at the Post are written at a seventh or an eighth grade level. But I am very smart and I often have to read articles twice.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that telling me? That an eighth grader is as smart as me? No, absolutely not. There's no
Yeah.
way. It's just a measure. It's like a yardstick. So if we treat
Okay.
it just like a yardstick, I think
Mm-hmm.
we're okay. You know, 4 inches isn't better than 7 inches
Mm-hmm.
unless you only have space for 4 inches. So all that to say, what grade level should your writing be at? It really depends who you're writing to and what they're doing with the content that you're writing. So, you could be a manufacturer of plumbing supplies, and you could have some of your knowledge content is for, homeowners to reinstall to fix a broken faucet, but the other is for contractors, and they're commercial contractors, so they're buying thousands of faucets, and they need a different question. So what would we say? What's the right grade level for that. It's a very hard answer. Do we need two articles? Probably we do. We need
Uh-huh.
two articles. But do we assume that the contractors want a more sophisticated knowledge article? Yes, in a few ways they want it more sophisticated. They want the technical terms.
Yep.
Okay, that will affect the grade level a little. Those grade level measures are mostly calculated by number of words per sentence and number of syllable per word. Isn't that crazy? That's
That's
the
wild.
formula. So
Okay.
if the sentences are really long and if they have a lot of multisyllable words, the grade level goes up. But if they're not, the grade level is going to stay down. But you can hear it's not grade level that we want. It's only it's that we want to know what is our user going to do with this information. Um, I
Who's the
promise I
audience? Yeah.
who's the audience and how are they going to use it?
Yeah.
I promise I wouldn't go on too long, and yet here I am. But the most important thing with those grade level measures is to do usability research.
Hmm.
And sometimes we do know, we can say, my intended reader reads at this level. We can say that. So, for example, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services writes the Social Security or the Medicare letters strictly, I think, at a sixth grade level, but not because they're like, Americans are dumb. No, it's not like that at all. It's because they did the research.
Hmm.
And they found that if we write it at a sixth grade level, most of the people who receive these letters can understand most of the content most of the time. But it's based on research, not on, some leader's opinion or some proofreader's opinion.
So just as in the way that software is developed, you have to have some UX testing.
Right.
Um, Knowledge should have a certain level of UX testing as well.
Yes, absolutely. And if you can't do the UX testing or the user testing in a statistically defensible and orderly way, get the four people together, buy them pizza, and ask them, could you understand this?
It does this make your job easier? Does this make
Right.
you getting to the end answer easier for you and your customers?
Exactly.
Love that. Love that. So we're getting close to the end here. But I wanted to go ahead and ask a question. I ask everybody this question. And if you can go at this stage in your career, if you could go back in time and tell yourself X, whatever that is, what would it be and how would it have helped you navigate your career?
Yeah, I love this question. And I thought about it a lot before we met today. Um, there's a few answers other people might give that I won't give. A lot of people give answers to encourage their former self. Don't be afraid, don't be hesitant, that kind of thing. That's not me. That's not me. I started this business in joy and in confidence, and I have worked in this business, I'm having a wonderful career. So I don't need to give my younger self a hug. She's fine. She's fine. So, what is my answer? My answer is every time you think that your industry is at some kind of pinnacle of change, there has never been this much change before. You were wrong. There's always that much change. That's what I'm saying because, it's good to be old. I'm old. I'm happy. I'm old, strong, and happy. And I think back on all of the changes that seemed to be, we will never see another revolution like this one, going from the one person in the company that had a server under their desk and could use front page, to anybody being able to create web content. Um, you know, I'm thinking about our customer service community to the revolution of social media, taking care of customers in social channels. But it really is just one after another. And here we are in the midst of another one. So I would tell my younger self, you know, wear comfortable shoes. It's going to keep changing.
Embrace it.
Right.
Embrace it.
Embrace
Yeah, I
it.
mean, as you were saying that, I was like, yeah, I mean, 30 years ago, 40 years
Exactly.
ago, this was a server room,
Right,
you know.
exactly. I mean, one of the first email writing workshops I ever taught at the start of our of eWrite, at the birth of eWrite, we were in a computer lab and there were about 25 people in there and their company was just getting email. They didn't had never had it, and they're just getting email. I'm
Mhm.
talking all about how to write well. And about 2 hours in, somebody raises their hand and goes, "Are you telling me that if I type it on my computer, it will show up on his?" And I was
Mind
like,
blown.
yes, that's what I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, and once you hit send, it's
Right,
out there forever.
right.
Yeah.
That is, in fact, what I'm telling you.
Yes. Excellent. Well, let's get into the speed round. And what I'd like to do, first of all, before we get into some other questions, is what are three takeaways that from today's conversation that you would want viewers of this episode to remember?
Well, that knowledge quality is the most important thing, whether the knowledge is knowledge-based articles,
Mhm.
templates of any type, that knowledge quality uh, will yield dividends that are well worth the effort of maintaining the quality. That people can learn to write well at work. If they're not good writers now, they can learn. It's an effortful process, but employers owe this to their employees. And that generative AI will have, as a writing tool, will have a lot of wonderful benefits. I would say we still need the person using that tool to be the writer's protector, pardon me, the reader's protector and advocate. So the tool won't fix everything, but it can help the person who's dedicated to making sure that that customer or that knowledge base user has a good experience. It can help that person.
Love that. I love that. Those are awesome takeaways. So, what is your go-to unwind, decompress, you're at the end of the day tactic after a stressful day?
I like to take a walk. We live on the back. We our yard backs up to a really thin piece of state park, and I like to take a walk. And I have a secret weapon that is my friend Janice, who is my walking buddy, and she is a very fast and intense walker. So if I really need to calm down, I'm going to call in a Janice.
There you go. The Janice always clear helps you clear your mind.
Right, right.
I love that. So what's one fact about Leslie that people would be surprised to learn about you?
Right. I really struggled with this one, Mark. I guess I don't know what they would be surprised to learn, but here's a funny fact about me.
Okay.
My husband and I have the same birthday. So
That's cool.
yeah, it
That's
is
cool.
cool. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So do you both celebrate or do you just alternate
No,
each
no.
year?
Well, he's 1 year older than I am, so he
Okay.
gets the zeros and the fives first. But we both celebrate, and yeah, it's. I thought he was playing me when he told me when we were dating. I'm like, no,
Uh-huh.
it's not, but it was. We both have the same
Nice.
birthday.
Nice. Yeah, my wife tells me I have to celebrate her for for the entire birth month.
Oh, that
Uh,
seems reasonable. Do you do it?
I try to, you know. Some years I'm better at it than others, but you gotta try.
Yeah, you
So
gotta try. Yep.
yeah, try. Well, if someone wants to continue to pick your brain about the work that you do, I mean, what the things that we talked about today are so foundational for people, regardless of industry.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
so if somebody wants to pick your brain about the work that you do, knowledge management, knowledge quality, writing resources, what conferences, events that you might be attending, how could they get in contact with you?
Well, I'd love it. They can always follow me on LinkedIn. I have 6 LinkedIn Learning writing courses, so they can take my
Excellent.
writing courses there. And the secret there is people can take LinkedIn Learning courses for free. If you log in to your public library account online, I think all the public libraries in the United States offer LinkedIn Learning courses for free, so you don't have to pay for that. They can always, like I said, follow me on LinkedIn. I have a newsletter there called the eWrite Rewrite. So if you're interested, I have about, 412 articles on my website if
Excellent.
you want to read more. But I like the idea that you said pick my brain, because anyone who wants to be in touch with me can contact me and say, I'd like to show you something. I'm always up for that. And there's, I'm not like, turning the meter on and ticking down the minutes. Please reach out. I would be glad to look at anything you want to show me, anything you want me to read. And the last thing, monthly, I do a LinkedIn Live broadcast with my friend and colleague, Kim Saido Campbell. She's a professor of technical writing at the University of North Texas. And our LinkedIn Live is called Fix This Writing. Two experts show you how to make bad writing better. So if you
Love
want
it.
to join us, the next one's March 26th. You can always find us there.
I love it. Just to add to that, I mean, I would definitely encourage our viewers to reach out to you. You
Hmm.
are probably one of the most authentic people out here in the LinkedIn space. Um, you always respond. You treat everybody with respect, regardless of how off the wall some of their questions may be. And I appreciate that about you. And when you say reach out, you'll respond, you'll get back to somebody. Give them a little bit of time
Yes, for sure.
about anything. That's not just talking. That's actuality. I've seen you do it, and I appreciate you for that.
Thanks,
So.
Mark. Thanks. Yep,
Um,
yep.
well, we've come to the end, and I just want to go ahead and Leslie, thank you very much for being
Thank
on this
you.
episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And if the viewers like this, please like and subscribe, as my 7-year-old says. Like and subscribe, to our YouTube channel. And if you want to reach out to Leslie directly, please, she's on LinkedIn. She will respond to you. If you have any writing questions, I don't care if you're in college or you're 50 years into your career, she will respond to you. And if you want an introduction, I'd be more than happy to do that. And
Hmm.
also, congratulations on being an ICMI top 25 thought leader for this
Oh,
year as well.
thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, that's a wonderful recognition. And ICMI means the world to me, so that's a great thing to think about at the end.
Excellent. Well, Leslie, thank you very much. And, all our viewers, feel free to go ahead and leave any comments as well. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks a lot.
All right.